Hello there, thanks for joining me right here on the Nation Update. I'm Jessy Chahal coming to you live from Bernama TV. The Prime Minister, Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, has said more economic sectors are allowed to reopen as the lockdown move is now no longer feasible. While the Prime Minister fears that its negative implications, with mental health being, of course, high on the list of must prioritize items. Now, the reopening of sectors, the Prime Minister believes, will not only help to speed up economic recovery, but also give the people an opportunity to improve their livelihoods. Of course, we've been in this conundrum for over a year now. It has taken a toll on livelihoods as well as lives. The Prime Minister, of course, is aware of this, and he's added that the reopening of 11 economic sectors in states under phase one of the National Recovery Plan has been given the high vaccination rate within the states. Now, the government has also made the decision after taking into consideration data from risk assessments conducted by the Health Ministry and the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry. Now, of course, big on data, this government is looking at how data can help to make better, more strategic and sound decisions. Here's a quick note. A total of 11 economic activities have been allowed to resume operations in phase one of the National Recovery Plan. This started back in August 16th, to be exact, which also includes things like car wash, electrical and electronic shops reopening, clothing and fashion, as well as accessory shops, including goldsmith shops, barbers, beauty centers, and hair salons. If you've been following the program, you've noticed I've got a haircut quite recently and very happy about that as well. Well, the Prime Minister has a lot more to say. He said that 78,000 divorces were recorded nationwide since the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak began last year. That was circa March last year. That's how far into this pandemic we are at this point. Well, of that number of 78,000 divorces in the country, a total of 10,346 involved non-Muslim couples, while 66,000 involved Muslims between March last year and August this year. The Prime Minister has acknowledged that the pandemic and subsequent movement control orders had led to pressure on married couples and the family or the family institution from just being apart, being away, struggling with financial issues, perhaps, as one of the many contributing factors to couples falling through the cracks. Well, from the Health Minister, Khairi Jamaluddin, he says all contract doctors will soon be able to apply for federal scholarships to pursue specialist training as Malaysia aims to have 28,000 specialists in under 10 years. Allowing contract doctors to receive federal scholarships was among the solutions taken by the government to resolve the plight of contract doctors, besides granting them contract extensions as well. So this was also in line with the government's aim to increase the number of specialists serving in the public healthcare system, which stood at 6,183 doctors as of 2019. Now, the aim to have 28,000 specialists in the public health sector come year 2030. With that aim in mind, there has been and is a need for the Finance Ministry to give a commitment to enable sponsored training for these doctors. And moving on, a total of 17 million individuals, or 54.1% of Malaysia's population, have been fully vaccinated against COVID 19 as of September 14. The Ministry of Health, through its website, covidnow.moh.gov.my, says that 66.3%, or a little more than 21.5 million individuals, have received at least one dose. Progress day after day with our national inoculation and the National Immunization Program. The Deputy Rural Development Minister, Datuk Sri Abdul Rahman Mohamad, has requested the Health Ministry to provide around 50,000 more CanSino vaccine supplies to give jabs to the remaining 43% of the Orang Asli community nationwide. Such an important point and observation here, as well as effort driven by the Deputy Rural Development Minister. He's added that to date, a total of 82,000 out of 144,000 Orang Asli have been vaccinated in the country. It's also pointed out that almost all of the Orang Asli are now anticipating to get vaccinated, and that the ministry is more than willing to work with other agencies as well to increase this daily rate of vaccination within the Orang Asli community. Good news once again. We hope that gets sped up as we speak as well. Now, the Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa today has announced two special telecommunication services discounts for students and families ahead of the reopening of university campuses come October 15. Exciting times for students as they go back to some form of normalcy, but of course, with SOPs in place, with a different clause in place as well, we still must make sure that we take care of ourselves and adhere to SOPs. So Anwar Musa says that the government will be offering two packages, dubbed Package Remaja Keluarga Malaysia, geared towards teenagers, and then another, which is Package Peranti Keluarga Malaysia, targeting families. So you've got the Remaja package and you've got the Peranti Keluarga package. So the first package is a complimentary 1 gigabyte worth of internet services daily, plus another 20 gigabyte prices at just 30 ringgit for 3 months. And the second package, or the family package, offers families the chance to own high speed smart devices by paying only 60 ringgit on a monthly installment of 12 months or 24 months. All sorts of plans and strategies being put in place to help the people achieve their life, perhaps objectives or goals in terms of being sustainable and trying to power through this particular unprecedented times. The Education Minister, Dato Dr. Radzi Muhammad Jidin, has said that the ministry will issue at least a 14-day notice for schools to reopen in states transitioning between phases under the National Recovery Plan. This, of course, is to give them time to prepare. He's added that the ministry will now issue a statement as well as inform schools of the dates for reopening. Reopening of schools by stages will begin October 3rd, to ensure students are able to reacquaint themselves with the national education system. It's also been said previously that students who have outgrown their uniforms or unable to procure uniforms at this point of time are able to attend school in normal clothing as long as it's decent and proper. And in Sabah, Information Department Director Nazira Abdullah has said the Malaysia Day celebrations is expected to be just as cheery this year, although the country is grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic. This is because Malaysians now have more options to access programs through digital platforms to celebrate the formation of Malaysia on September 16th, coming up, in fact, just tomorrow. Malaysia Day celebration this year will be quite unique because it will take place in a hybrid format, combining digital and physical elements with the presence of guests on a smaller scale in line with the new normal to curb the pandemic. The public can also follow the live telecast of celebrations on television, in particular RTM's TV Satu or TV1. The celebrations will also be shown on the Merdeka 360 portal. Take note of this. Also, the Facebook page of the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia, as well as official YouTube channel of the Sabah government. So accessible to anyone who has, these apps on your phone or on your iPad, on your tablet. Get together, have a bit of a time together, and do observe and celebrate Malaysia Day. Moving on swiftly, the Chief Secretary to the government, Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali, has called on the country's civil servants to embrace the spirit of Malaysia family. This is the concept that the government is proactively promoting as well. This also to help formulate strategies to revive the economy and restructure the country to transition from the COVID-19 pandemic into the endemic phase as well. Now, there have been KPIs that have been put in place. These include restructuring the economy, ensuring national security and order, improving social welfare, upgrading overall infrastructure, strengthening integration in the Malaysian family mold itself, and to empower the delivery of services. And civil servants also have been reminded to practice ethics and integrity to establish public service that is efficient, effective, and highly regarded by the people. And we move on to some news internationally. A month after seizing Kabul, the Taliban face daunting problems now as they seek to convert their lightning military victory into a durable peacetime government. And from there, we move on to the US. Three former US presidents, Republican George W. Bush, Democrats Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama, have all banded together behind a new group aimed at supporting refugees from Afghanistan settling in the United States following the recent American withdrawal ending 20 years of war in Afghanistan. And at least 11 people, including soldiers and civilians, have been killed and several others wounded when a suicide bomber blew himself up at a tea shop in Mogadishu's Wadajir neighborhood on Tuesday evening. And Dadir Hassan, a police officer in the city, says the suicide bomber targeted a busy tea shop near a major military base in the Somali capital. And as we move on to Sydney, according to official authorities, a curfew has been imposed on more than 2 million people in the 12 Sydney suburbs hardest hit by the spread of coronavirus's Delta variant. That will end today, stopping short of easing more lockdown restrictions. This provides some relief, but to also know that the Delta variant is aggressive and is still at large out there. And China's southeastern province of Fujian, the focus of the country's latest COVID 19 outbreak, their reporters say its straight day of the new local infections through cases remained contained in three cities on the coast. Governments, countries, leaders coming together to pool resources and do what they can to contain the spread and outbreak of the Delta variant and many other variants that we see across the country. Well, it's time to leave you today. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will be taking you back to the Parliament at 2:30. Do keep it locked on to Bernama TV. That will continue in just a few minutes where we take you to the Parliament. I'll bring you more updates from time to time as and when I get them. This has been the Nation Update. I'm Jessy Chahal. Thank you for watching.